Hi everyone, this is Scott Dudley from Funnel Fella Radio, and today my special guest today is Trevor Nicholls from an inbound agency called Clued, who provides sales and marketing services for SaaS companies to help them fill their pipelines. Trevor's also based in the UK, so welcome to the show, Trevor. Are you ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, thank you, Scott. Excited to be on this one. This is actually my first podcast that I've been on, so yeah, we will see how it goes.
Oh, okay, I've been the first one for a few people actually. It's like the Virgin podcast for a few people.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah, all right, so let's get stuck into it and sort of go back to the beginning before you were doing what you're doing now. So a bit about your background and how you first got into marketings and funnels and inbound sort of stuff.
Yeah, no worries. So it's quite a convoluted story, really. So actually, my sort of main career, I was a police officer for quite a number of years. Unfortunately, picked up an injury and ended up having to leave the police because of an injury. So I had to find something to do, and at the time, this is when we had the stock market bubble that was going on with all the tech shares, etc. in the late 1990s, and I was heavily involved with share clubs and investments, etc. So I thought, right, I'm interested in that. I'll become a financial advisor. So I went off and did all my exams, and I qualified and started sort of giving advice to people. But one thing that I found when you learn to be a financial advisor is nobody teaches you how to get clients. And financial advisors are, in the UK, are very commission based. So if you don't sell, you don't make any money, and it's as simple as that. So if you don't know how to get your own clients in and don't know how to convert those prospects and those appointments into customers, then you struggle. So I ended up doing a lot of research into marketing, starting to learn how to market myself, started to learn how to start attracting people in. And what I found over the period of time was that I was actually more interested in that side of things than I was the actual financial advice. So I decided that I wanted to get into the marketing world. I'd also always wanted to start my own business. So I thought, well, this is an ideal opportunity. So rather than go on my own, I bought a franchise in the marketing. It was like an online portal type of franchise. You sell advertising space on the portal, you promote the portal, and so on. So I did that, ran a couple of franchises, different areas that I bought, etc. And I very quickly realised that as a franchisee, a lot of your revenue was going back to the franchisor, and they're the ones that are really making the money. So I decided to move on from that, and I started a business in the marketing world, more in the direct advertising, so leaflet and flyer delivery business, but with a view of franchising it. So I did that. I started a leaflet delivery company in Milton Keynes in the UK. We were one of the first to use satellite tracking on our deliverers, and I franchised that, and I became the franchisor for that business and grew that a number of franchises throughout the UK, and decided that the franchise game wasn't really for me. I didn't really enjoy the working with the franchisees all the time, etc. So decided to move on from that, sold that business, and I went consulting. And Clued was one of the clients that I was consulting for. I moved into Clued. It was an existing agency that was mainly sort of around the social media type space. I moved there as a PPC consultant, and I had a lot of experience in setting up not just PPC accounts, but also doing the automated marketing, because that's how I grew my previous businesses. So they asked me to head up the HubSpot side of the agency. So I started there as a consultant. They then offered me a job as a HubSpot, the head of inbound marketing, head of the HubSpot side of the agency. And to cut a long story short, after about 4 years, I ended up buying the business. So did a management buyout of the business and took it in the direction that I wanted to take it into. So it's quite a journey.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting how you started off with one particular field and then that changed into something completely different. And like I think many people have realised that a lot of these professional service businesses, it's pretty useless unless you can actually get the clients in through the door.
Absolutely. People start businesses and go into businesses because they're good at what they do. Yeah, they're good at making the thing, delivering the thing, but they're not necessarily good at marketing the thing.
Yeah,
And what a big lesson that I learned is a guy called Nigel Botterill, who's a sort of an entrepreneur or guru here in the UK. And one of the things that he teaches is that you are not in the business you think you're in. Your business, as the business owner, is the sales and marketing of your business. Once you realize that, you can then make some step changes in your business. Once you realize that as the business owner, your responsibility is to make sure that you can get and keep customers, then your business starts making changes.
yeah, absolutely. All right, so the agency is called Klood, spelled Klood. So tell
Yeah.
me a bit about that and also the Klood growth model. I'd be interested to find out about that.
Yeah, sure. So as I say, I wasn't the founder of Clued. The Clued was founded about 10 years ago, 8 to 10 years ago now, and it started life as actually a SaaS company, a software company. They had a platform that was a social media tool, the likes of Spout Social and so on. And they developed the agency in order to test the tool as well as to raise the revenue for the tool's development. But over time, like the majority of agencies out there, people go, oh, you do social media. Does that mean that you can do websites? And what they said, yeah, of course we can. Right, quick, find a web designer. Does that mean you can do PPC? Yeah, of course we can. Yeah, and the services sort of expanded from there. Over time, the tool, the platform, sort of went in one direction, and the agency went in another, which is sort of when I stepped in. Now, as I say, I've owned the agency now for about 3 years, and one of the things that I resisted for a while but realized that was a mistake was that as an agency you really got to have focus in a niche, not only on who you serve but what you actually do for them. If you try to be all things to all men, it's just not going to work. It causes chaos on the delivery side. You're just seen as a generalist. Your prices are going to be low. You're seen as a commodity, etc., and that causes an issue. Around about 18 months ago now, we decided to specialize in the SaaS industry because that was our background, and we had a few clients in that industry, etc. And not only did we say, right, we're going to specialize in the SaaS industry, we really, what our strength is in lead generation. So we didn't want the types of SaaS businesses that are, the Netflix sign up online $9.99. We wanted more B2B enterprise software clients that need lead generation and then have a lengthy sales process, because again, one of our strengths is about how do we take that lead from being a name in the database through to becoming a customer. So we work.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Do they call that enterprise sales? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I mean it's B2B enterprise sales. So our customer base generally their products are sort of selling for £50,000 plus a year to their clients. So it's a lengthy sales process. It's not an instant decision sign up online. And this is where we work. We work not only with the initial lead generation and get more traffic to your website, driving the conversions on the website, but then what do you do once you've got that lead? How are you going to convert that lead to a sales conversation, and then how are those sales conversations going to lead to the closure? Yeah. Okay. So the Clued growth model itself, this is something that we developed, and effectively there's three things to grow in most businesses, and this applies to SaaS as well as it does to other businesses, is that in order to grow a business, first of all, you've got to be able to attract people. You've got to be able to attract eyes on your website, people through your front door, however it is that you're going to sell. So we've got to know how to attract people to your website. That's obviously the area that we're in. So how do we get that traffic there to the sites in the first place? And we do that through a number of means. We do that through paid media, we do it through content, social, and so on. Okay, when they're on the website, how are we actually going to capture that person's details so we convert them to a lead? And then once we've got that lead, how do we move that? So we've got the attract, the engage, and then really importantly, and especially in a SaaS business where you might experience a lot of churn, etc., is how do you delight the customer once you've got them as a customer? Yeah, because if they're dropping out the back door as soon as you're getting them in the front door, then you're never going to grow. Okay, so we look at all of those three things. And in order to deliver that, the first thing we always do, which is on our growth model, it's about what we call a game plan. It's about having a decent strategy in place in order to achieve those three things. Okay, once we've got that strategy in place, yeah, what we want to be able to do is we want to automate it. Yeah, we want to use the tools to make sure that this is flowing through, and your salespeople are only speaking to the right people once they've reached certain lead scores, and that are qualified. We've got things all going on all the time, so that customers and prospects and opportunities aren't falling through the gaps. Okay, so we want to automate that, and then we want to look at how do we scale that. How do we increase the throughput? How do we increase the traffic further? How do we increase the number of people coming through those funnels?
Pretty thorough. So with the software tool, does that still exist?
It does, but it's gone into a different market. It moved away from the social media management because you probably appreciate there's some very big players in that market, the likes of Sprout Social, Hootsuite, and so on and so forth. They've got very deep pockets. So the tool was bought out by a guy who owned a market research company, because part of the tool, it had a element in it called the radar, which was a listening tool. It was listening to sentiment and listening to comments about any particular topic that you put in. So it's used very much, all the posting of the social posts, etc., removed from the tool now, and it's very much about listening and finding out what people are talking about, a brand or a subject, etc., and then applying some sentiment to that as well.
Yeah, I guess, seeing as the agency started from the tool, then you'd have a good understanding of how to deal with a SaaS company, obviously, because that's where it all started from. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. So we started life as a SaaS, and the other thing as well is that as an agency, we're using SaaS every single day. Everything we do is using a SaaS product. Yeah, we understand it. We're advocates of it. We know how valuable they are and how they drive businesses, and that's the key thing for me. And that's the key, that sort of the exciting thing for me, is that we believe that SaaS businesses help to drive the economy, because they help businesses to grow. They help businesses to achieve what they want to achieve, which is helping to drive the economy. So it might be, okay, we're just trying to get you some more customers for your software. Well, actually, no. The knock-on effects to that is you're helping. Your software is now helping X amount more companies, X amount more businesses that are helping to grow, the staff keeping employed, feeding the local economy, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, when you look at it that way, that's huge. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, with your agency, how many team members have you got, including yourself?
So, including myself, we've got 9. Relatively small agency. So we've got 3 of us that work on our internal sort of business development. So, one internal marketing manager, one business development rep, and myself. And the rest of the team are the clients. So we've got graphic designer, we've got content writers, account managers, and so on.
They all in the UK or spread around?
Yeah, they're all based in the UK. Obviously at the moment they are working remotely. We have just reopened the office and people are starting to come back into the office, etc. But on the whole, we're working remotely, and it fits really nicely to the agency world. People have the flexibility to work at home. We've always had that flexibility anyway. So the transition to working at home, whilst not ideal, wasn't as much of a hardship or a hit for us. And we've got it to a stage where one of our guys has actually relocated now and just asked whether or not they could permanently work from home, and why not? They do a really good job, so why would I say no? I think we're going to see that in every industry now. We're going to see more and more companies now that have got that flexible working environment, and people sort of working from home. And unfortunately, how that's going to hit the rental sector, I think that there's going to be some hardship there. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I understand that inbound marketing is sort of the main function that you use to attract the clients. But as far as funnels go, what sort of funnels are you building for SaaS customers?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, we mainly focus on the lead generation side of things, and traditionally that was always you create content to attract people to your website, and you give them a gated piece of content, an ebook or something along those lines, in order to get people to opt in and so on, and then the email marketing, remarketing, retargeting, etc. to bring people in. Now that shifted a fair bit for a number of reasons. What we see as on the whole now is engagement with things like ebooks is getting less and less. Yeah, how many ebooks have we all downloaded and I'll get around to reading it, and we never do. Etc. Yeah, so that's becoming a harder sell. So what we look at doing now is thinking, okay, well, what other things would be, rather than trying to educate somebody into doing what you're trying to sell them, what is it that we can deliver that's still high value, that's still going to help that person sort of journey down what's going to help nurture them down the buyer's journey. So things like tools like calculators, assessment tools, and so on. We're sort of building those. So it's instant help, as opposed to I've got to go and learn something. I've got to go and work. And we're seeing a lot more success and engagement with those types of tools now, rather than the ebooks. Okay, so we use those as the lead generation, and then we use the nurture to push people towards having that sort of a sales meeting or demo or free trial.
Okay, makes sense. All right, so it sounds like you also offer traffic and optimization as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A funnel's no good unless you've got traffic going through it. Yeah, it's the best funnel in the world, but if no one sees it and goes through it, then that's a problem. I mean, as I said earlier, as an inbound agency, traditionally we've concentrated very much on the content side of things. Lots of blog articles, pillar pages, and so on and so forth, which are still very, very valuable. But what we've seen recently, and especially with obviously the current situation, is that inbound takes a long time to start getting traction. It can take 6 months, 12 months, 18 months before the content starts gathering the momentum and so on and so forth. And once it does, it's fantastic. You've got leads coming in without paying for them and so on. Yeah. But what we're seeing right now is that's too slow for people. They want more instant results. Yeah, and so we're still offering the full range of inbound service. That's still where it's appropriate. That's still what we do. But we've slimmed down that offering now to be more of a direct funnel approach now, thinking back a bit more further down the funnel, sort of where we're looking to drive paid media, Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, etc., through to the lead magnet type offers, and then nurturing from there. And then what our aim is to ensure that the revenue that we can generate for a customer will be enough to more than pay for the full inbound services, which is the longer term strategy. Yeah. So when we engage with a client now, a new client comes on board, it's mainly the funnel offering that we'll talk them through first of all, and then once we're generating the ROI, we'll move them over to the inbound.
Okay. Does the inbound include SEO as well, just out of interest?
Yeah. As I said, I mean, we've never set ourselves to be an SEO agency. We're not a highly technical SEO. We know the best practices. We know the good things that we need to be doing, and we focus a lot around the content and the topic clusters that we need to be creating in order to satisfy the reader's needs. Okay, because as you know, the algorithms now are so clever with Google and others that probably what's more important, whilst the on-page and technical SEO needs to be sound, what's more important is the usefulness and the value of that content. Okay, so we do a lot of research into the buyer personas, what the pain points, the problems they have, etc., and produce a lot of content around those.
All right, so tell us about one of your most successful marketing campaigns and why you believe it performed so well.
Okay, so there's a couple that spring to mind. So one is a recent one, and it's a company, a customer that's in the health and well-being space. They in the employee management, where they provide a platform for managing the health and well-being of your employees. And obviously, at the moment, there's a lot of people struggling. There's a lot of people suffering, etc., and so on. So what we've done with them is we've created a managing stress and burnout worksheet. That is aimed at HR managers. You know, HR managers are very concerned about their employees' well-being. We've developed this cheat sheet to attract HR managers into the company, which is our client's target market. And we launched this probably about four to 6 weeks ago, and so far we've generated them between 700 to 800 leads. Which I think is phenomenal, and that's targeted leads, targeted HR managers, and so on. So it's really built their database up, which then obviously the sales nurtures kick into place. Now, one of the reasons why I think it's successful, apart from the current the current situation, which obviously has a massive impact, is that the research that went into that, the research that went into the persona, we interviewed the personas, we talked to some existing customers to really understand what those pain points were, and then we could then address those pain points and articulate those well in the offering. So in the ads, not only in the landing pages, the ads, and the actual the usefulness of that worksheet was just immense. Okay, so that's one reason. Another reason, which was a historic one, which again sort of really showed us the power of and the importance of getting the right funnel for your client. We had a client who produces software in the animation industry, and they they're very sort of well known in that particular field, and they were struggling with their website. Was one where you would just download a free trial of the software.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were getting lots and lots of free trials, and they had a very, very poor conversion rate. Extremely so. So they were losing money on their campaigns every single time. So we shifted them to more of a demo style, a demo funnel as opposed to a free trial funnel. Okay, so rather than just downloading a free trial, you had to get a demo, and it was a live demo with a rep. So a lot more labour intensive. However, that shifted within a very short period of time. I think it was about 6 months. It shifted from them generating lots of free trials and not converting anything. We got them 1,190 demos. Okay, so live demo appointments, so obviously very resource intensive, but it increased their revenue by about 160,000. Okay, so £160,000. So it was a complete shift in their whole sales process. It wasn't just an ad campaign, etc. It was thinking through that whole process. And again, that's just the importance of making sure that the funnel is right for the offering that you have.
Well, it also goes to show that automation's not always the way to go. That a lot of the time, a personal touch is going to convert a lot better than just letting automation try to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you automate where you can automate, but where it's appropriate to automate. And the aim of the automation isn't to do the job of a sales rep; it's to make sure that the sales reps, when they're having the conversation, they're more efficient, they're more qualified, and so on. And that's where the automation comes in.
Particularly for a more expensive product too, of course, as well.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's it. If you're selling something that's 5,000, 10,000 plus, etc. Yeah, people aren't just going to make those instant decisions. And buy online. So they're going to want to speak to someone.
Yep. All right. So talking about software tools earlier, what are your favorite online tools and platforms that you use to run your business?
Okay, so we're a HubSpot agency, Platinum HubSpot agency, and that's our main go-to tool for the majority. You know, the tool itself is fantastic. Yeah, it's got everything you need in there in order to run these sort of marketing campaigns. But as an agency, the support HubSpot gives is phenomenal. The way they help their agencies and their partners grow, the education, the advice, the consultation. They're happy to jump in with clients, look at campaigns, etc. They're absolutely brilliant. So that's the main tool of choice. Um, Not all of our clients are HubSpot clients, but we do limit our tech stack. You know, so if we're doing a funnel build and it's not relevant for a client to go onto HubSpot either because of price or they don't want the whole CRM sort of play, etc., then we'll go to ClickFunnels and we'll build out the landing pages, emails, etc. There. So that's what we use as an external sort of marketing tools, but internally to run our agency. ClickUp is, yeah, we've tried a number of different project management, resource management tools, etc. And we found that ClickUp is by far the best that we've seen. Yeah, I say the best for us. Yeah, it might not suit everybody, but for us, it was by far the best that we see. You know, we're able to sort of manage complete projects end to end. We do time tracking. We can work out points allocation. You know, do all sorts of things on ClickUp. Keep everything in one place. All our procedures are there, and so on and so forth. So yeah. So those are the tools. HubSpot and ClickUp. Yeah, are the ones that I would, if I was starting from scratch again tomorrow, they'd be the two that I'd get straight away. Yeah.
All right. So what are some of the biggest and most common mistakes that you see your clients making?
Okay, so a couple really. First one is about being realistic with expectations and budget.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll often get calls, and the first thing we do is an exploratory call with a client, and we often get calls of, yeah, I want to grow by £1 million within the next 6 months. Okay, so where are you at now? Well, yeah, we're at 100,000. Okay, so you're looking to 10x your turnover within 6 months. Okay, what budget have you got for that? Oh, we think we can stretch to 1,500 a month. It's not going to happen. You know, the best word in the world. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. So we often have those conversations about, okay, yeah, you've got to be realistic in your expectations here. Yeah. You know, it's all very well picking figures out the air, but yeah, is it actually going to be achievable? And yeah, there's a whole sort of education piece we have to sort of do around about, you know, how much you should be spending in your marketing budget, and so on. Okay, and then the next one that we see, and often people come to us with, is that they focus on tactics as opposed to strategy. Okay, so somebody will come to us straight away. Can you sort out our Facebook ads? Well, yeah, we do Facebook ads, but is Facebook ads your problem? Yeah. Can you sort our SEO? Well, yeah, we can, but is that your problem? They tend to pick on one thing that they see as being an issue, whereas actually the wider issue is that they've actually got no strategy and no ongoing plan. You know, they don't understand who it is they're targeting. They don't have the goals. They don't know whether the tactics that they're doing are actually going to help them meet the goal, and so on. I mean, especially if we're dealing with entrepreneurs by definition tend to like shiny new objects, and they want to jump on all the new things that are coming to play. You know, let's try a chatbot, let's try this latest thing, etc. And yeah, they end up spending a lot of money without getting the returns. Yeah. So we want to, before we start talking about software, tactics, etc., we've really got to understand what they're trying to achieve, who they're targeting, what their messaging, their positioning is, etc. And then the platform becomes not irrelevant, but it's the secondary thing that we need to be looking at.
Yeah. All right. So other than what we've just talked about, what would be the biggest challenge that you have to consistently face while running your agency?
Okay. So one of the things, and I would say this is a challenge for most agencies, it's balancing the growth and the delivery side of things. Yeah, especially as a small agency. Yeah, as I say, there's only 9 of us here, so we bring on a new client, and it's an exciting time. Okay, but then you've got to say, right, okay, how are we going to deliver that? Yeah, who's available? What resources have we got? And so on. And we don't want to be hiring people every time, and we don't want to hire people in advance and keep them there not doing anything. Okay, so it's having that constant sort of juggling act between, okay, we want to grow, we're bringing on new clients. I mean, we've had a really good month this month. We've brought on 3 new clients this month. Okay, well, that's a nice problem to have, but it is a problem. How do we deliver? How do we service them, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so it's constantly balancing that resource planning against the sort of the expectations relating to our own growth.
Yeah, makes sense. All right, so with an eye to the future, what are you curious about or researching right now regarding digital marketing?
Okay, so like I said, as an entrepreneur, it's really easy to jump in on the latest thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I'm particularly interested in is using conversational marketing for lead generation. So chatbots, yeah. How are they developing? How's the usage? Not necessarily the technology, but what are the strategies behind the usage of those? But what I'm really focusing on, and I've put in place a structure, because yeah, when I first jumped into the agency, yeah, I made some mistakes, and one of the mistakes I really made was every time I learned something new, I would throw a hand grenade into the team to say, right, we're going to deliver this, we're going to deliver that, and all of a sudden the team now have got to thinking, oh man, yeah, Trev's got another wacky idea, you know, we've now got to jump onto this, and it was chaos, and it was providing uncertainty and upset. You know, I get excited by those things, not everyone does. Okay, so one of the things that I'm researching or curious about is not necessarily a new technology or a new thing, but how do we take what we're already good at delivering, and how do we deliver these better for our clients? How do we get better results for them? And how do we as an agency do it more efficiently?
Yeah.
Okay, so rather than trying to widen our skill sets and widen our technology knowledge and our tech stack, I'm trying to actually withdraw them and say, no, this is what we're world class at, this is what we're really good at, and this is what we're going to focus on.
Sounds a little bit like Perry Marshall's book 80/20 Marketing. I don't know if you've read
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, great book.
Zero in on that little bit that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah, and what we're good at, you know, identify what you're good at, identify what you can become the expert in. Yeah, it's the classic story, isn't it? It's the difference between a GP and a heart surgeon. Yeah, the GP is gonna earn X amount, the heart surgeon is going to earn 10 times as much. You know, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So who are your marketing idols or the biggest influences in your career?
So, there's a number. So when I was running my businesses, Dan Kennedy was I was a big fan of Dan Kennedy. I was a member of the Dan Kennedy's Inner Circle and so on, and read all of his books and so forth. As I got more involved in the digital world, yeah, a number of Perry Marshall was one of them. Yeah, I read a lot of his work. One that I'm currently very impressed with is, yeah, as I said, we've just started working on the funnels, the click funnel side of things, but started to study a lot of Russell Brunson stuff. And yeah, again, very good at explaining what can be considered to be very complicated, to making it really easy.
Yeah.
And there's one guy in the content marketing world that I'd really rate highly. That's Marcus Sheridan. I don't know if you've come across Marcus Sheridan. He wrote a book called They Ask You Answer, which is all about making sure that you understand what your customers are asking you, and making sure that you're answering that in a number of different ways. And again, Marcus, if you ever get a chance to see him speak, etc., very good at explaining things in a really easy to understand way, which is ideal. So yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so just to wrap this up, where can people go to find out more about your services and or your products?
Okay, well, our website is clued.com, so KLOOD.com. So yeah, we can explain things there. If people want to reach out to me, LinkedIn is probably the best way to get hold of me. So LinkedIn or email at trevor.nichols@clued.com.
Perfect. All right, so thanks very much for your time, Trevor. Really appreciate that, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Excellent. Thanks, then.
See ya. Bye.